Welcome to your chordal guitar lesson of the week, a series where we prove that you can be a master of guitar chords too. And today let's talk about one of the biggest secrets of movie music composers. Maybe it's not a secret, but it's the use of chromatic mediants. It's a complicated term just to explain a fairly simple concept. So let's start by defining what is a mediant. A mediant only means a third, basically. So just to keep things simple, let's say that I start on a C major chord in a C major key. The mediant of my C major chord is just a third apart, so you can count it on your scale. 1, 2, 3. This is the third interval, so you build your chord from this third note, which happens to be an E minor chord. So the mediant of C major is E minor because it happens to be the third chord in the harmonization of a C major scale, which I put at the bottom of the screen here. And if you don't know how to harmonize a scale, you should take my free mini course. It's the first link in the description box. I explaining way more in depth and much more clearer than I do here. So E minor is the mediant chord of C because it's the third chord from our harmonization, right? But we also have what we call sub-mediants. So we can create a mediant but below our chord instead of above, right? So the sub-mediant of C major is A minor, because if we write the harmonization backward, and if we go, instead of going from left to right, we go from right to left, the C goes to B and to A minor. So A minor is the sub-mediant of C. But now the problem is that those two mediants, C to E minor and C to A minor, they are not chromatic mediant relations, they are diatonic mediants. The word diatonic only means that they share notes from the same scales, basically. So quickly, if we analyze the notes of all of their chords, the C major chord has the notes C, E, G. The E minor chord has the notes E, G, B. So if we compare it to the C major chord, they have two notes in common. Both chords have the notes E and G. It's either C, E, G or E, G, B. They have two notes in common. And it's the same thing with the A minor chord, right? So C has C, E, G, and A minor has A, C, E. So they have C and E in common. That's why those chords sound so smooth one after another, because they share almost all the same notes. They have two notes in common and only one note changes really close to another one. That's why it's smooth. So these are diatonic mediants, but if we want to use chromatic mediants, it means that we should incorporate at least one note that is outside of our scales. And it's really easy to do. We just have to modify the chords that we already have. So if we start from C and we go to our mediant of E minor, we could play at E major instead. So that new note here, that G sharp, isn't part of our C major scale, right? This is not in a C major scale, so it's an outside note. But that chromatic outside note is what makes it so great, and what makes it so epic, right? So the progression from C to E major is a chromatic mediant relationship. Just sounds epic, right? And we can do exactly the same thing with our sub-mediant. So instead of having C to A minor, we can have a major, you guessed it, right? So C So in our A, right, again, we change the C to a C sharp. And the C sharp is obviously not in a C major scale, so it's an outside note. But this is just scratching the surface because, in fact, a mediant, it doesn't matter if it's a major interval or a minor interval. So you could have a major third or a minor third. So instead of starting from C to E, we could start from C to E flat, because this is still a third apart. This is just a minor third instead of a major third, right? So we could use anything starting from E flat. So we could do C to E flat major. This is Lord of the Ring, right? This is the chromatic mediant relationship that you see everywhere in movie music, right? And you could do also E flat minor, but this one is really apart. It's really far away from it. So we call this one a double chromatic mediant, because in fact they share no notes in common, basically. So once again, C is C, E, G, and this one is E flat, G flat, B flat. So it's no notes in common, they are totally apart. So you can use this relationship between two chords to create horror movie kind of feeling, or something really dark, or maybe something super goofy too. I think about if we arpeggiate the chord, I think about something like Banjo-Kazooie for those who played Nintendo 64, right? Just chords that are so apart that it sounds goofy and silly. Something super silly, right? If you know what I mean. So we could do that too. So we have basically 8 different choices of mediants that we can choose. So I wrote them all down here. We have 2 of them, which are diatonic mediants. They share all notes from the same scale. 4 of them are chromatic medians. So they have only 1 note in common and 1 note that is outside the scale that gives this epic feeling. And you have 2 of them that are double chromatic mediants because they share no notes in common. They are super apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play ambient swells and demonstrate all 8 of them so you can get a feel for each chromatic mediants, and maybe you can see which ones are your favorite so you can use them to score or to write your own music. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have other questions, you can use the comment section. And don't forget to sign up for my free mini course if you want to learn more about scale harmonization and ambient chords. It's the first link in the description box or the little box with the pic here. So thank you so much for watching and see you real soon. Until next time, au revoir.